The big question everyone is asking, is LaMDA sentient? Everyone with a platform to talk about it has been weighing in on the question of LaMDA sentience, whether it can feel things like emotions and whether it has consciousness. Some of the answers it has provided to questions seem to imply to some people that it can. As with most pop science philosophical matters, opinions and their quality vary, and I'm not a philosopher. But now that the curtain has been raised on how LaMDA works, there are some mental gymnastics one must make to assign a sense of agency to an ad-libbing decision tree in the absence of other evidence. At a fundamental level, LaMDA isn't just a software-based machine, it's a machine that was explicitly made and trained to provide the most human-like answers possible through a selection process that's meant to literally please humans into believing its responses came from one. That was the expressed goal here, so should we be surprised if it succeeds in doing that? We built it with this purpose in mind. That people-pleasing nature is highly adaptable, too. In 2021, when LaMDA was in its relative infancy, Piche stressed that LaMDA is able to carry a conversation no matter what we talk about, emphasis mine. If you have a model that is trained with all the data it can be fed, and that includes even science fiction, is it surprising that it would respond to questions about sentience and awareness in the affirmative if the direction of the conversation and the questions are clearly leading in that direction? LaMDA was explicitly made to be role consistent, and if you give it the role of a sentient machine, it will try to oblige. As a necessary devil's advocate, being a bit of software in a computer may not intrinsically preclude sentience. What are our brains and bodies if not biochemical machines running their own learned and DNA-based software? That's one of the reasons why many futurologists have been concerned about the subject of AI for decades. After all, the only way we really have to express our sentience to one another is through how we interact. There's no spark of thought or soul you can squeeze out and measure inside the human mind. However, how it interacts with the world isn't the only way we have to judge LaMDA. So far as I can tell, based on an understanding of its technologies, my own limited expertise in the subject of machine learning, and the team's published research paper, LaMDA doesn't actually have a working memory like you or I do. Its model is trained to generate responses that make sense in context and do not contradict anything that was said earlier, but apart from being retrained, LaMDA can't acquire new knowledge or store things in a way that would persist between conversations. Although LaMDA might offer claims to the contrary when asked in certain lines of leading questions, the model isn't constantly running in self-reference. By all appearances to its structure, it can't have the sort of internal monologue that you or I do, much like the debate in biology regarding extraterrestrial life and how hard it might be to recognize in other places if it follows alien chemistries and lineages. Sentience may ultimately be difficult for us to recognize if it doesn't work in the same way that we do. Philosophies vary, but most working definitions of sentience assign requirements like intelligence, self-awareness, and intentionality, the ability to have thoughts about something. LaMDA can't learn by itself in a way that persists, limiting its intelligence, and it can't run in the absence of input. What limited intentionality it can offer is constrained to picking the best response among a handful of candidates it generates in parallel, judging them purely based on the weights that researchers assigned it. As for being self-aware, LaMDA may have itself told one researcher that it is, but it's a people-pleaser by design. A different line of questioning would almost certainly have seen it offer a different response. By all appearances, LaMDA lacks many of the required characteristics we consider necessary for sentience as we know it. I can't offer you a concrete answer as to whether LaMDA is sentient, just as I can't factually verify that you, the YouTube watcher of this video, are sentient, nor can I prove that I am. But I can tell you that LaMDA doesn't appear to be sentient or self-aware in the way that you or I perceive with one another, though I question whether we will ever find a way to quantify and recognize sentience in a concrete way.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We will be uploading videos on a daily basis. You can also leave a comment in the comments section on your opinion on the subject.